Am I the idiot? I wouldn't let my cheating wife talk to our son on his birthday. At the end of April 2021, I found out my wife of almost 11 years had been having an affair with a man that she works with. She told me she didn't know why she had done it as she wasn't attracted to him and didn't have feelings for him at all, she just did it for the attention. I forgave her almost immediately as I truly felt she was the love of my life and my soulmate. 2 weeks after I found out about the affair, she admitted to me that she had been falling out of love with me for a few months, but didn't know why and didn't think there was anything that could be done to bring her feelings for me back, so she asked for a divorce. Over the next few months I lost 30 pounds due to anxiety and depression and lack of sleep. My wife started dating the man she cheated on me with and promptly informed our 4 young kids about her relationship. I asked her not to talk about her boyfriend in front of our kids yet, since I didn't feel it was appropriate this early into our divorce process, and it was clear that my 10 and 11-year-old children were uncomfortable with the situation. My wife even tried to force our kids to FaceTime with her new boyfriend a month ago, and it made my oldest son so uncomfortable that he hid under his bed sheets. I asked her to not expose the kids to him anymore for at least 4 to 6 months and that she can enjoy her time with him, but to leave the kids out of it. This week was our youngest son's 6th birthday, and I had reluctantly asked if she wanted to get together as a family to celebrate, as it was my custodial night with the kids and I wanted to be nice. We had agreed to meet up and to keep things civil. The night before the party, my wife FaceTimed my kids while she was at her new boyfriend's house, which made me sick to my stomach and made my kids visibly uncomfortable, so after the call I texted her and told her I didn't think it was a good idea to get together for the party anymore because of how anxious I knew I would be around her, and I didn't want to say or do anything in front of our kids that I might regret. She was very upset about this because she wanted to be able to see our son on his birthday, to which I responded by telling her, "Divorce sucks, and if you wanted to see and speak to our kids every day that she shouldn't have cheated," and asked to end the marriage. I also informed her that I do not want her calling our kids on their days with me anymore, as it's my court-appointed time, and since my son's birthday fell on my night, this meant that I didn't want her to call him. I said if our son asked to call her I would let him, but he never did. That she tried to get her attorney involved, but he told her there's really nothing legally wrong with my request and not much he could do. Needless to say, she didn't get to talk to him or see him on his birthday because of her actions. Am I the asshole in this situation? Comment 1. NTA. You didn't have to offer her any time with your son on his birthday if it's a day he was in your custody. You did so to be generous. You have asked her previously to be discreet about her new relationship around the kids you share, and she has flouted that over and over. I'm pleased her attorney saw sense that there wasn't anything wrong with what you said/did. You actually seem to be putting your kids' feelings first, whilst she seems keen to move on and pretend everything is okay. Keep doing as you are. Comment 2. Damn, I had no idea that this was a common arrangement. In AUS, if parents have split custody, then there is usually a handover halfway through the day on holidays like Christmas, Easter, and birthdays. Like if my mom had me leading up to Christmas, I'd spend the morning with her, then go to my dad's at lunchtime. She got Christmas morning and Christmas Eve, and my dad got the afternoon and Boxing Day. It's pretty common in most circles, and my parents had a vicious relationship that prevented them completely from communicating, so all handovers were conducted by my stepmom or grandparents. Quick edit. This was court-ordered, not something they came up with. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for exposing a cheating wife? About a year ago, my sister-in-law went out to the bar while her husband was out of town for work, and she ended up getting a hotel with a friend and having sex. And then it happened again with another individual. It became a trend that every few weeks she would end up sleeping with one of the 2 guys she was hooking up with. After being cheated on myself, I decided to call him and let him know what had been going on. Am I the asshole for calling him? Or am I the asshole for waiting so long to say something? I didn't want to interfere with someone's relationship, but after being hurt I thought it was something that needed to be done. Edit. It is my wife's sister, and she was open to us about cheating, but I know my wife and her would have both flipped if I said anything. Comment 1. Nobody except you has suggested it is true. I said what it makes me think. You then started a new conversation about whether his wife is actually out having an affair or not. Comment 2. I strongly understand this, however, that man's relationship life for the rest of his life is at stake. Your wife knows that, and knows not telling him could lead to him spending the rest of his life with a cheater. It seems to be something significant. You are for sure not the asshole though. It reflects well on you that you have the self-reflection to check too. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for helping my son avoid his family after his wife cheated? I don't really feel great about throwing this on the internet, but everyone is too pissed to talk to me, so this is about what I've got. My son and his wife have been together for 6 years and have a little 4-year-old girl. They've had their problems every once in a while, but to me it seemed like they always worked through it. I know he absolutely loves her and I thought they were very close. But 3 days ago my son came to my door at 10 at night drunk, sick and in complete tears. I guess she'd been cheating on him for some time, and during an argument she finally admitted it. He just fell apart, he could hardly breathe right. I cleaned him up and put him in bed, and that's about where he's been since. He looks ill, he won't eat, I've never seen him so upset. His wife and her family were calling us both repeatedly, but we just didn't deal with it at first. He was devastated. I wanted him to have a moment to gather himself. This morning I bit the bullet and answered her call. She was angry he had walked out and left her with their daughter and said she just wanted to talk this out like adults. I told her that she could talk to him when he chose to contact her, and that I think he'd want to work something out, but she needed to give him some space. She got more upset and I told her I wouldn't talk if she was going to throw a fit, so she hung up. I don't know what she told her family, but I've since gotten calls from her mom begging me not to let him leave her and their daughter. Her sister called to berate me for protecting a deadbeat father. They're all freaking out. He isn't abandoning his family, his life has been turned on its head and I want him to have some time to find his feet. It's just been 3 days, it's not like he's run away. But now everyone is angry at me for letting my son leave his daughter, which he absolutely adores, that little girl. He'd never just up and leave. So am I the asshole for letting him stay with me to get away from his family? I know it leaves his wife in a tight spot, but it's been 3 days and she hardly works part-time. It's not like he's left her with an impossible task. And I absolutely intend to have my son deal with this, but I just can't see him feel like this. And I don't think he could have any meaningful conversation this way. What should I do? I'm not trying to let him hide from his responsibilities, but he's hurting and needs time to breathe. Some additions and edits for clarity. Of course, we've discussed the possibility that his daughter might not be biologically his, but he doesn't plan to abandon her regardless. He loves his little girl and would despite anything. And as far as if her family knows the full story, I have no clue. I haven't even tried talking with them yet. Comment 1. Yes, but those folks never had the means to know for sure. The uncertainty existed next to their child's love. Now, there is a third option, knowing for sure, doing away with the uncertainty, and maybe reorienting your relationship with the child you thought was yours. Comment 2. When a relationship starts with deception, it's difficult to not change the perception of the relation. So in the end depends if he is willing to fix the relationship with the girl or prefer to let that crumble. Is better for the child that he take the best decision for himself, because if he force himself to continue loving that child it can cause more long-term harm than happiness for the kid. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for throwing a book at a building in frustration after having something fall on me at a cafe? Every day I go to the cafe that's a few blocks from my place to drink a coffee, get some reading in, and generally just chill out. There's a seat that I pick every day that has a large shade umbrella that provides some shade in the heat. Today, while I was in the middle of a really emotional passage in a book, the umbrella dislodged from its post in the wind and fell on top of me and spilled my drink all over the book, and a little bit of my brand new MacBook. In a fury, due to being in that part of the book where the main character is confronting his cheating wife, and having just received the MacBook that I had saved up for 2 years for, I picked up my wet book, threw it at the big glass window of the cafe, making a huge boom sound. I immediately realized my mistake and apologized profusely as the baristas walked out of the cafe yelling at me. At that point I stopped apologizing and explaining to them that their umbrella had fallen on me and I was going to sue them. Heat of the moment bluff for sure, but in the moment was really considering it. At this point voices started to be raised. The manager came out and immediately told me I was permanently banned from the cafe. At that point I realized I was overreacting and started profusely apologizing for what had happened, calmly explaining that I was in a very intense part of the book I was reading, which is why I got angry. I was being very calm at this point, but they decided to go all in and raise the stakes with saying they were calling the police. Again, I must note I was very calm at this point, but the threat to call the police rubbed me the wrong way. So I pulled out my phone to start recording the situation so I would have evidence if it went to court. I pointed the camera at the umbrella and told the camera, and loudly so everyone could hear, what had happened and that I was going to press charges. At this point I was angry again, even after I tried to neutralize the situation by apologizing, so I admit I raised my voice at this point. The manager got her iPhone out and started acting like she was calling the cops, so I got out of there ASAP. I think there are definitely two sides here considering the umbrella fell on me, and the overreaction when I was calmly explaining what had happened. But the waters are fuzzy on this one since it's a bit of a complex situation with high emotions with both parties. I'm thinking about going back to make amends and explain what exactly had happened since I go to the cafe every single day and I definitely miss going there, as the closest other cafe is more than a mile away. Thank you for reading and your time, hope I can get some perspective here. Comment 1. YTA. You overreacted and got violent. Then you threatened to sue them, so of course they aren't going to be nice anymore and try to understand your side. I'm an empathetic person and understand getting emotional over reading/watching something, but you're an adult and should know to control your emotions. If you had simply gotten up and explained the situation to them, or if they had seen it, you likely would have gotten much better care and treatment and probably free coffee. You escalated the situation, they matched your energy. Then you get mad that they matched your energy and didn't just let you get your way, and you snapped back and forth between apologetic and threatening. Comment 2. YTA. Grown-ups do not throw things, especially at glass. Get control of your temper. And God heavens sake, do not try to go back to that cafe. They're convinced you're dangerous and they have good reason to think so. If you show up, even to try and make amends, all they will see is that you refuse to respect their boundaries, which will only show them even more that you are dangerous and cannot be trusted. You don't get your ban rescinded that way. Or, most likely, any other, except maybe by waiting it out and trying again in several years when they may have forgotten who you are. You've made a proper mess of this and you're not going to erase the consequences anytime soon. Leave them alone.